Hare Krishna, so for everyone, we'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuro Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameyam Dadati Swavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sagana Raghunathanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Shakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shanyavari Paschatya Deshatarani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. We are continuing our discussion from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. Today we are starting with chapter 4. Sati quits her body. So far we have heard in this chapter, Maitreya Muni is describing the dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu. He began with describing Devahuti's marriage in the previous canto. In this canto, in the beginning, he is describing the dynasty of the daughters of Devahuti. Along with that, he described about Akuti and Prasuti. So, in describing the dynasty of Prasuti, he said Prasuti had 16 daughters, everyone else was married, and everyone was married. They had children apart from Sati, the youngest one, because she died early because of the quarrel, the strife between Lord Shiva and Daksha. That intrigued Vidurji. Lord Shiva is Charachar Guru and Daksha is Duhitra Vatsala. So how is it that they had argument? So Maitreya started the description how Daksha insulted Lord Shiva and they had this argument, cold war going on for many years. Again, one time, Daksha arranged a sacrifice. He invited everyone apart from Lord Shiva. And in the previous chapter, we heard Sati, she's seeing all the airplanes in the air. She goes to her husband and says that everyone is going. I also want to go. I also want to be with my sister and mother and participate in the yajna. So Lord Shiva gives so many arguments and reasonings why she should not go, but she was really adamant. And then in the end, last verse, Lord Shiva says, if in spite of this instruction you decide to go, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are most respectable, and when you are insulted by your relative, the insult will immediately be equal to death. So now we'll go to the fourth chapter. मैत्रेय उवाच एतावदुक्त्वा वीररामशङ्कर पत्न्यङ्गनाशं ह्युभयत्र चिन्तयन् परिशङ्किता भवान् निष्क्राम
The sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati, seeing her between decisions. Sati was very much anxious to see her relatives at her father's house, but at the same time she was afraid of Lord Shiva's warning. Her mind unsettled, she moved in and out of the room as a swing moves this way and that.
She was really disturbed because she was not allowed to go. Although Lord Shiva fell silent, but Sati, she was really disturbed. Srila Prabhupada writes, Sati's mind was divided about whether to go or obey the orders of Lord Shiva. Struggle was so strong that she was pushed from one side of the room to another, like a pendulum of a clock. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, Shiva understood that she would destroy herself, and Shiva knew that if she is allowed to go, she'll be destroyed. If she is not allowed to go, she'll burn with anger, and she'll destroy herself. So either she goes or doesn't go, she will get the same result. So therefore, she was just silent. Desiring to see her relative, she went out of the house, and simultaneously being afraid of Shiva, she again entered the house. बाहर जा रही है, अंदर आ रही है. She is really disturbed. So Lord Shiva knew that her agony or insult, either she will die out of agony or she will die out of insult. So Sati was in that predicament. So one may have many plans and proposals, but when one becomes too much attached to those plans and proposals, the result is not at all good. One will always be disturbed if we get too much attached to our plans. मैंने ऐसा बनाया, ऐसा होना ही चाहिए. The right way is make your plans, but we should not be too much attached to those plans. Nirasakta. The more we are attached, the more we'll be disturbed. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, he was at the peak of his career. Namanti yatpadaniketam atmana shivaya haniya dhanani shatrava. He was such a great king, big scholar. Big kings would bow down in front of him. They would offer lots of riches. Shivaya haniya dhanani. They would get their wealth. But when he was cursed, he was not disturbed. He gave up everything and he followed the plan of the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj lived a life of detachment. So that is the wonderful thing we learn through the characters of Bhagavatam. What to do and what not to do. So Sati, in this example, she's teaching what we should not do. We should not be attached to our plans. If we are attached, then we'll suffer when things change. And things will change for sure. There is only one thing which is constant, that is change. Everything keeps changing. So Sati, she was really upset. Now, what she does? She is looking at Shiva as if she will blast him with her vision. Next verse describes that.
Before that, you said we should not attach to our plan. The planning is necessary, for everywhere. Then we should be ready to, if it changes, we should be ready to accept.
Yeah.
That is the meaning of it. But you should have some backup plan also, or something like that, or no?
Backup plan बनाइए, जो भी plan बनाना है बनाइए, but Krishna knows how to make us humble.
Okay.
The more the earlier we accept that we are not the controllers, we are not the doers, will be peaceful. Because things will definitely go wrong at some point of time. We have to make plans. We have to do our best. As we can't just sit, भगवान की इच्छा होगी तो अपने आप हो जाएगा. But we have to make plans. But when things go wrong, then we should not blame Krishna. I made so many plans. I had planned such nicely. इतना दिन मैंने इसमें समय लगाया था, ये सोचा था, वो सोचा था, क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Krishna has his plans. Krishna's plans are better than our plans. When we pray to Krishna, many times we feel Krishna is omnipotent, all powerful, and I have made my plans. So please execute my plans. But we forget that he's omniscient also. He knows better than us. He knows how we will advance better.
Okay.
So sometimes he sanctions our plans, sometimes he doesn't sanction our plans.
3.30 also Bhagavad Gita.
तावत् कर्माणि नहीं क्या मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्म चेतसा निराशी निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व निराशी. निर्ममा, मेरा प्लान है. Yes, thank you. Next verse. सुहृद दृक्षा प्रतिघात दुर्मना स्नेहादृत्यश्रु कलाति बिह्वला अवं भवान्य शमृषा वैक्षत जात वेपतु
Forbidden to go see her relatives at her father's house. Tears fell from her eyes, shaking and very much afflicted. She looked at her uncommon husband, Lord Shiva, as if
भस्म करने वाली दृष्टि ऑर्डिनरी नहीं है स्त्री कि भाई देख लो क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है. धक्ष्यति इव धक्ष्यति, as if she is going to burn Lord Shiva. Blast him. Prabhupada uses the word blast him with anger. Prabhupada भी अच्छा अच्छा word use करते हैं इसमें. Blast him with anger. You know, the same principle of getting detached from our plans applies in our spiritual practices also. Because while we are practicing our bhakti, we have our plans कि भाई इतने सालों के बाद तो इतना तो कम होना चाहिए अनर्थ, कुछ तो होना चाहिए ना. इतना साल हुआ अभी तक तो कुछ तो होना चाहिए, फिर 10 15 20 साल हो जाएंगे तो थोड़ा तो कम होगा. कृष्णा में have different plans. When Krishna will purify us, that is up to him only. So today morning only our Raj Bihari Prabhu in our temple, he was giving a class, and then he was making this same point that when we accept the things which are happening in our life, we become peaceful. The more we resist कि ऐसा क्यों हो गया, when we start only thinking क्यों हुआ, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है, we are more distant. When we start thinking, okay, I accept it, this is what Lord has put in my life, or this is what my anarthas are, I accept, and let's see what can I do now. Then we'll be in better situation to handle it. ये खाली कर्मण्यवाधिकारस्ते बोलने के लिए नहीं है. मां फलेषु कदाचन. We should not be so much obsessed with our plans of getting the results, even in spiritual life. भाई इतने सालों में मेरा तो इतना तो प्रोग्रेस होना है, इतना तो शुद्ध होना ही चाहिए मेरे को. नहीं होता है वैसा. Sometimes it becomes worse, and it happens because first wish only comes out.
In spite of the person is putting his 100% effort, still it will happen like that.
Of course. तो आपको क्या लगता है बाकी ड्यूटी 100% नहीं डालते हैं?
नहीं, what I'm saying is people are putting 100% effort. Somebody is putting. In that life also, his life also, this will happen.
डिवोटी की नॉन डिवोटी?
डिवोटी की बात है.
हाँ कृष्ण देखिए
एकदम ardent है वो, देखिएगा
तो ज्यादा होगा उसके जीवन में ऐसा. कृष्णा नोस इसको कैसे अच्छे से जल्दी जल्दी शुद्ध करना है. Because you see the life of all the characters of Bhagavatam, they are intense devotees. उनके जीवन में क्या क्या हुआ, ऐसा कोई भी कैरेक्टर है क्या इन्होंने पूरे जीवन में अच्छे से भक्ति की और फिर अंत में भगवधाम गए, हरि बोल? नहीं होता है ऐसा. Life of a serious devotee is full of challenges for sure. For two reasons. Krishna wants to purify him more, just like नारद मुनि को क्यों बुद्धि शुरू में क्या बोले हो, फिफ्थ चैप्टर फर्स्ट कैंटो, आई एम गिविंग यू दर्शन बट आज और नहीं होगा, बस इतना ही, ये जन्म में इतना ही. क्यों? एंड दो चीज बोलते हैं उसमें, अविपक्व कषायानाम दुर्दर्शो हम कुयोगिनाम. He says, I don't give darshan to those people whose devotional service is not yet mature and they are not yet purified. So he says, Chakravarti Thakur says, I give you darshan, that means you are purified, but I want to increase your eagerness. So Narad Muni was purified. Out of these two faults, he didn't have the fault of purification, but Lord wanted to increase his eagerness. और चाहिए. तो भगवान अपना कैसे प्लान करते हैं वही जानते हैं. How he will make one pure or how he will increase the eagerness. Just like Bharat Maharaj का story आता है 5th canto में. Why he acted in such a way? How he got attracted to a deer? It was not the karma. It was the plan of the Lord. Chakravarti Thakur writes in that it was a auspicious. There are two types of prarabdha karma. You can go to that 5th canto. The devotee goes through two types of prarabdha karma: an auspicious prarabdha karma and inauspicious prarabdha karma. So, what is auspicious prarabdha karma? What is inauspicious? Inauspicious means whatever activities a person does, because of that he suffers. That is inauspicious. पिछले जन्म में जो भी पाप किया है उसका. But there is some karma one suffers because of that is pious. What is pious? Because that is the intervention of the Lord. I'll just tell the verse. This is 515. Sorry, 5826. 515 में भी है, 5826 का चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर का परपोट है. 5826. Chakravarti Thakur writes something in this purport. He writes beautiful things. I'll read it. 5, 8. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, he fell from his position in yoga and worship of the Lord by the influence of karma of this life, which manifested a small deer to him. Prarabdha karma is of two types: auspicious and inauspicious. I'll just share the screen also for those who are online. So prarabdha karma is of two types, auspicious and inauspicious. The first type occurs by the will of the Lord to increase longing for devotion to the Lord. Like sharp ointment applied to the eyes. So, किसी ने लगाया वो एक ointment ऐसा आता है कान में आंख में लगाते हैं तो बहुत जलता है पहले. का नाम है एक अच्छा सा है. This is accepted favorably by the devotee. Being similar to prarabdha karma, it is accepted as such. So for the outsiders, it looks like devotees are also suffering similar way like outsiders. What is the difference? But their suffering is different. That is the plan of the Lord. That which creates more intense bhakti in future takes place in those who already possess rati or bhava. So such type of prarabdha karma is given by the Lord, and this will increase the intensity of devotee. Just like Bharat, he was also already at the stage of bhava. The second type is a result of previous life sinful activities because of absorption in material life. So that is the understanding.
One somebody is a Vaishnava, the prarabdha karma is not affected. Basically, because of Vaishnava prarabdha only you will get.
Yeah. Yes. Whatever problems and difficulties they come in the life of devotee, that is for two reasons: because of the offenses and because Krishna puts them. It may look similar to the prarabdha karma of the ordinary people, but it is put by the Lord. Because now our records are not with Yamaraj. Because it is taken care by the Lord personally. The devotees are taken care of by the Lord personally. So he may put the same obstacle, same problems, but it is not by the material energy. It is Supreme Lord who may conduct the same events through your Mahamaya. We are not under Yogamaya yet. The sadhaka bhakti is still under Mahamaya only. Sometimes we are under Yogamaya, most of the times Mahamaya. But Yogamaya is being conducted by the Lord only. That is what Chakravarti Thakur writes in some one purport. So that is there. So a devotee should never feel that, Arey, why I am suffering? It is plan of the Lord, whether good or bad. All the good things and the bad things happening in the life of a devotee is happening by the will of the Lord.
So in that case, when the devotee is suffering, the devotee, what he does? He prays to the Lord or he will suffer?
Tattenukampa susamikshmano. वही है. Grateful. I deserve much more. That is humility. For them it is humility. For us it is reality. I can say about myself. Okay. So she is looking at Lord Shiva as if Pradakshati, as if she'll blast him with her vision. So she knows that her husband is aprati purusham. He is unparalleled. There is nobody like him. And she knew that her husband is completely detached from the material world. Prabhupada writes, Sati knew that her husband was equal towards everyone. So why is, in this case, she is so unkind? He is so unkind. She is not able to come out of this understanding why he is talking for my welfare. She is thinking, अरे क्यों ऐसा बुला मना कर रहे हैं? Why is not allowing me to go? This distressed her more than she could tolerate. And she looked at her husband as if she were ready to blast him with her vision. So Sati's mentality, it became the cause of her destruction. So when one is attached to his way of doing things, then for sure the destruction or wrong things will happen. So Prabhupada writes interestingly. Since Lord Shiva could not be persuaded to give her permission, Sati took shelter of women's last weapon, weeping, which forces a husband to agree to the proposal of his wife. अब क्या कर रही है वो? So now, in the presence of her desire to see her relatives and fear of her husband, which was stronger? Fear or the desire? Fear of her husband or desire? Desire. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, the desire was stronger in the next verse, purport. The desire was stronger and the fear of the husband was weaker. So now what she did? She didn't wait. She just left. ततो विनिश्वस्य सती विहायतम्
तथा विनश्य
लोकेन
सती
रोषेण
विहाय
स्तूयता हृदा
शोकेन रोषेण च दुःस्थः
पित्रोरस्त्रेण विमूढधीगृहान्
दुर्गस्तेन
प्रेमात्मनो
विमूढधीगृह
तां प्रियः
प्रेमात्मनो प्रियः.
Thereafter, Sati left her husband, Lord Shiva, who had given her half his body due to affection. Breathing very heavily because of anger and bereavement, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman.
वीक वुमन किसको बोल रहे हैं? सती. So that's how whoever one may be, when one is overwhelmed with emotions, one becomes weaker. Tato vinishwasya, heavily breathing. Experience हुआ है ना गुस्सा. Sati, she vihayatam, she left her husband, and shokena roshena. She was having two emotions, shok and rosh, anger and bereavement. Chaduyata rida, and her heart was afflicted. with these two emotions. So what she did? Pitror agat grihan. She went to the house of her father, and this act was train vimudha dhi, because of her being a weak woman. Not that she was weak, but this situation made her weak. Premnatmano yordham. Although Shiva, he had given her half of his body due to affection, but still she left. Srila Prabhupada writes. According to Vedic conception, the husband gives half his body to his wife, wife gives half her body to husband. Vedic marital relationship existed between Shiva and Sati, but sometimes due to weakness, a woman becomes very much attracted to her father's house, and this happened to Sati. In this verse, it is specifically mentioned that she wanted to leave such a great husband as Shiva because of her womanly weakness. Therefore, the best course for a woman is to abide by the orders of her husband. Oh, sorry. Generally, ये तो बहुत एकदम explosive statement लिख रहे हैं प्रभुपाद यहाँ पे. Generally, the separation between husband and wife is due to womanly behavior. Divorce takes place due to womanly weakness. The best course for a woman is to abide by the orders of her husband. That makes family life very peaceful. Of course, when Prabhupada writes such things, he is having this basic understanding that the husband is a good husband. Otherwise, it is not always the same case. So when husband is like Lord Shiva, because the context is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, he is giving good advice, but still she is not behaving properly. So when such statements are taken out of context, then it creates really great disturbance. So, in these situations, whenever we are hearing these stories, we should understand that whenever faults are pointed, we should not take it for the person who is mentioned here. It's like Sati, she is behaving as a very weak lady who is influenced by emotions. And any other place in Bhagavatam where we have heard some devotee didn't act properly, many places it has happened like that. Any personality who didn't act properly. Parikshit Maharaj, okay. And अरे इतने सारे हैं. थर्ड कैंटो पढ़ा हमने.
Dhruva Maharaj bhi na, when he also started killing yakshas.
Okay, ठीक है, वो he went beyond overboard. Okay.
Both Kumaras and the Jai
Okay, Kumaras, Jai Vijay. ठीक है. These are like very थोड़ा सा gray areas है. Any एकदम सा blatantly wrong thing.
Diti.
Okay, Diti Kashyapa. Anything else?
Moon god.
Okay, he kidnapped the wife of his own spiritual master.
Good husband, yeah.
और
Guru.
Brahma ji.
Then,
Brahma ji got attracted to Vak.
yes.
और Durvasa fell down because of Durvasa, sorry, Shamari Muni, who seemed two fishes mate.
Super
He is going to her his sons and says, अरे मेरे को आपका युद्ध दे दो.
Pururava Maharaj.
पुरोरवा. वो हमने एक सेकंड कैंटो में ब्रह्मा जी बोलते हैं नारद मुनि को, all these great souls have understood the signs of God. बड़ा सा लिस्ट देते हैं उसमें सब आते हैं लोग. That is interesting. तो उसमें अति भी है, पुरुरवा भी है, शोबारी भी है. So these are only for us to take lessons. So Sati, she is a very exalted lady, but she is acting improperly here. So her fault should be pointed out. So we should understand everyone has his higher nature and lower nature. And when we don't act properly, then our lower nature affects us. So such statements, many times it is taken out of context. Not that bad, but the situation in which she wanted to go was not conducive for her. Because Lord Shiva is telling again and again, it will not be good for you, don't go, you, अभी एंड में क्या बोलते हैं, you, क्या है स्टेटमेंट ही ऐसा है, this insult will immediately be equal to that, because Lord Shiva is knowing कि क्या होगा आगे, बार बार समझा रहे हैं लेकिन समझ नहीं रही है. Okay, so now she left. Prabhupada writes. Now the next verse. She traveled quickly. जल्दी से जा रही है कि शिव जी वापस उनको रोकने का प्रयास करेंगे. She traveled quickly in fear that Lord Shiva would try to stop her. ताम अन्वगच्छन् द्रुतविक्रमां सतीम्
तां
एकां
द्रुतविक्रमास्तस्यै
चरा सहस्रशा
एकां तथा
सपार्षदयक्ष मणिमन्मदादय पुरो
मणिमन्नतादयः
यथा
पुरोवृत्तिवृत्ता गन्तव्यथः.
Thousands of Lord Shiva examples headed by Hanuman and Mother quickly followed her with his bull Nandi in front and accompanied by the Yakshas.
So all the followers are alarmed. Arey, their goddess is traveling alone. How is it possible? So they immediately came. So Sati, she was going very fast. कि भाई दोबारा ना रोक लें शिव जी, मैं तो जा रही हूँ बस. All the disciples, all the followers, they are also looking. Public में हो रहा है लगता है एकदम ऐसा ऐसा. आई डोंट नो, कैलाश में ऐसा कुछ होता है कि उनका घर और कैसा, पता नहीं, कभी ऐसा डिस्क्रिप्शन सुना नहीं. घर ही नहीं था ना. सो मतलब जस्ट इमेजिन इफ दिस इज हैपनिंग एंड ऐसा शांति से तो नहीं बात कर रहे होंगे, जोर जोर से ही चल रहा होगा. सती मस्ट बी एंग्री. As she is leaving, everybody is following her. चलो वही जा रही है, अकेले कैसे जाएंगी. So यक्ष पिशाच मणिमान, headed by यक्ष and मणिमान. Mणिमान and mother, they are going with him. Gata vyatha. So the word used is, Prabhupada writes, Gata vyatha means without fear. So she was not fearful कि I am going alone. I don't care. If you are not coming, I am going alone. She was almost fearless. The word Anuchara is significant, for it indicates that Lord Shiva's disciples were always ready to sacrifice anything for Lord Shiva. Anuchar hai wo. They are ready to do anything for Lord Shiva. So they could understand that Lord Shiva wants us to go with her, because why she is going alone? Shanto. So they immediately were ready. They were like first class servants. You know, 4 types of servants. उत्तम चिंतित कुर्यात्, प्रोक्ताकारी च मध्यम, अधमो अश्रद्धया कुर्यात्, अकर्ता उच्चरितम. First class servant tells without telling, goes and executes the order without telling. Second, बोलने पे कर देते हैं. Third, नहीं करते हैं फिर भी बोल, they don't have faith. क्यों बोलते रहते हैं, कुछ भी बोलते हैं, कुछ तो होता नहीं इससे. Anyways, बोलने भी बड़े हैं तो कर देते हैं. Fourth class, they never do. So they were first class servants. They could understand the desire of Shiva. So they immediately left. You know, this Anuchara, the word Anuchara comes in the first canto, 5th chapter, where Narad Muni is describing his previous life, the qualities of boy Narada boy. तस्य में अनुरक्तस्य, प्रश्चित्रस्य, हतैनश, श्रद्धानस्य, बालस्य, दान्तस्य, अनुचर. These are the 6 qualities of a devotee. Attached to the master, prashrita, obedient, hatainasha, sinless, shraddhadana, faithful, danta, sense controlled, and anuchara, faithful follower. So they are faithful followers. तो अभी उन्होंने क्या किया, सब लोगों ने सती को बिठाया नंदी पे, एंड they are doing so many things. ताम सारिका कंडुक दर्पणाम्बुजा
तां सरिता कण्डूक
श्वेतागादि
दर्पणाम्बुजः
सायं
स्फुतातपत्रव्यज्य दागदि हिताय निर्दय
विटङ्किताययो
विदङ्गमारस्य विदङ्गताय स्युः जल्दी
bull and gave on the bird which was they bore a lotus flower, a mirror, and all such paraphernalia for our enjoyment, and covered with her with a great canopy, followed by a singing party with drums, concerts, and bubbles. The entire procession was composed as a royal parade.
So they arranged immediately everything. पूरा royal procession शुरू हो गया. All the instruments, her pet bird, umbrella, all the royal paraphernalia they arranged. Vitankita, it was splendid. So now Sati reaches the house of her father. And what is happening? So for 6th to 10th verse, Sati, she gets a very cold response from Daksha and other priests. Abrahma ghosho yagya vaishasam
आब्रह्म
viprarshijustam vibudhai cha sarvasha
विभ्रजुष्टं विदुधैः सर्वतः
chanadarbha charmabhi
निरार्वयकाच्चं
nisrishtabandam yajanam samavisha.
She then reached her father's house, where the sacrifice were being performed, and entered the arena.
So she reached her father's house and she's seeing all the wonderful arrangements being done. She saw various paraphernalia, plates made up of gold, and the chanting was going on Brahma Ghoshor Jita. So Prabhupada focuses on this Brahma Ghosha, the sound of the Vedic hymns, Brahma Ghosha. And she sees all the great sages, Brahmanas, all the Devtas, they all have assembled. So Prabhupada, as in his typical style, he is focusing on the words which are very, very conducive for giving a Krishna conscious purport. Brahma Ghosha. So he's focusing on the sound vibration. So Prabhupada writes, the sound vibration of Hare Krishna mantra can purify. It is transcendental. And then Prabhupada writes, Yajna Sankirtana. Prabhupada has a very typical way of describing anything in purport. If anything related to sound vibration comes, he'll for sure mention about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Hare Krishna mantra. Even if some yajna comes, so yajna matlab to 100% आएगा ही. Yajna Sankirtana Praya. And then Prabhupada focuses another thing on the animals which are offered in sacrifice. So he says the animals were not meant to be killed. They were meant to test the power of the mantra. So animal was given a new life, a young body. They are not meant to be killed or eaten. The real purpose of the sacrifice was not to replace a slaughterhouse, but to test the Vedic mantra by giving the animal new life. So that was the purpose. So now, as she reaches this arena, no one received her properly because of the fear of Daksha. Tamagatam tatra na kaschanadriya vimanitam yagya krito bhayajana
विभाविता
te
षडक्षितो
swasrira vai jananim cha sadhara
ते
premashrukantya
सागरः
vajurmuda.
प्रेमाश्रुकण्ठा परिचर्चित जुर्भुता. Queen Sati with her followers
पढ़िए
leave
शारदा
the
जी।
arena because all the people assembled there were afraid of Daksha. None of them received her well. No one welcomed her but her mother and sister, who with tears in their eyes and with glad glad faces welcomed her and talked with her very pleasantly. Hare Krishna.
Nobody welcomed her but only her mother and sisters. That's all. But she was not so happy with that. She wanted attention of her father. That's why she had come. So she was not pacified. चलो भाई कोई नहीं तो मम्मी और बहनों ने तो भैया मेरे को वेलकम किया अच्छे से. No, she was really upset. So Prabhupada writes, mothers and sisters could not follow the orders, could not follow others. Everybody else was afraid of Daksha. Mothers and sisters, so they were soft-hearted, immediately embraced her. This shows that women as a class are very soft-hearted. Their natural affection and love cannot be checked by artificial means. So Prabhupada is giving a wonderful purport here. Their natural love and affection cannot be checked by artificial means. So Prabhupada writes in another purport also when similar things are described. Prabhupada says that's why women, it is easy for them to take to spiritual life. In any spiritual gathering, you will find women more. It is natural for them. That is conducive for them. It is very easy for them to become wonderful devotees and take to Krishna consciousness. On the other hand, men, because they are more rational and they don't have that simple nature, so therefore they analyze everything. Before putting faith, they analyze nicely, and then only they'll be taking anything. But for women, it is very easy, and that's why they advance much easier. So Prabhupada focus on that. Women are naturally soft-hearted, but men are sometimes very hard-hearted. Prabhupada glorifies that. When that Chaitanya Charitamrita, when that old lady climbed the shoulders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Govinda is rebuking her, how can you do this? So what Mahaprabhu told him, anyone knows?
I should get that kind of.
नहीं, उसके पहले इनको गोविंदा को क्या बोले? नहीं, उसको उनको अच्छे से झांपते हैं पहले. He calls him he calls Govinda as Adivasi. How can you say like this? She has such a great affection. Then he says, I should also have that affection. So Lord is more pleased when somebody acts on the level of affection. Because Krishna is anyways not pleased by awe and reverence. Aishwarya Jnanite Sarva Jagata Mishrit Aishwarya Shithila Prema Nahi Mora Preet. So everybody, entire world is serving him in awe and reverence. But Krishna is not so pleased by that. Krishna is pleased by loving dealings. Aishwarya Shithila Prem, the love which is mixed with Aishwarya, it is not so dear to me. And because Prabhupada writes, because women, they have natural affection. So Prabhupada is glorifying that. Another purport, Prabhupada writes that women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord. And they offer obeisances without reservation. This simplicity of acceptance of Lord's authority is more effective than showy, insincere religious fervor. Prabhupada writes in one purport. Okay, so although she was received nicely by her sisters and by her mother, she did not reply a word. सौंदर्य संप्रश्न समर्थ वार्तया
So that is so much
मात्रा च
Bhakti
मात्री स्वश्रिभिश्च सादरम्
Matra Samatru
दत्तां
Sadara
सपर्यां वरमासनं च सा
Tattvaram
न न
Parinamasata
दत्तपित्रा प्रतिनन्दिता सती
Nadastapitra Patinandita Sati.
Although she was received by her sisters and mothers, she did not reply to their words of reception. And although she was offered a seat and presents, she did not accept anything. For her father, for her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her.
पूछे भी नहीं बिठाए भी नहीं कुछ भी नहीं बोले he just neglected her ना दत्त पित्रा pratinandita. She did not get the reception which she was expecting. She became really upset. She didn't accept any of this greetings given by her mother and sisters. Prabhupada writes. Sati was the youngest child and she knew that she was his pet. But now, because of her association with Lord Shiva, Daksha forgot all his affection. And this very much aggrieved her. Then Prabhupada writes a very strong, very important line. The material bodily conception is so polluted that even upon slight provocation, all our relationships of love and affection are nullified. Bodily relationships are so transient that even though one is affectionate towards someone in a bodily relationship, a slight provocation terminates this intimacy. So that's how all the relationships in this world, they are very superficial. As soon as my sense gratification is not hampered, I will show my affection. As soon as even a little of bit it is hampered, then affection goes away. The fight between brothers, they are so common. Even to such an extent that father can also kill the children if they become an obstacle on their path, on his path. And of course, son can also kill the father. Any example? Famous history. Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb presented, first he put Shah Jahan in prison, then he killed his brother, Dara Shikoh. He cut off his head and he presented it to his father. So that is a relationship. So Urvashi in the 9th canto, she is telling very, very strongly about the nature of a woman. Lower nature. Of course, that does not mean man doesn't have lower nature. But in that, because the context was such that she had to give a lesson. So she is very blatantly, bluntly telling the nature of women. That is the nature of any person. When the lower nature is exhibited, no relationship remains sacred. So that's how, she had great hopes. She had great plans. Ki, bhai, at least I am the pet child, youngest child. So at least my father will be loving towards me. But seeing such a cold response, she is completely devastated. So what we expect in this world, it is not very great. Ambarish Prabhu, he was once telling that in this world, everyone wants to have a wonderful career and material advancement, but I have reached the end of it and I have found that there is nothing over there. कुछ भी नहीं होता. So those who don't reach, they are always hankering, and those who reach, they are wondering. यहाँ पहुंच तो गया अभी कुछ मजा नहीं आ रहा है. कुत्राशिषा श्रुतिसुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपा क्वेदं कलेवरमशेषरुजां विरोह निर्विद्यते न तु जनो यदपीति विद्वान् कामानलं मधुलवै शमयन्नुरापै. Prahlad is telling to Narasimhadev, oh Narasimhadev, what is auspiciousness in this world? आशीष है ही नहीं यहाँ पे, सुनने में अच्छा लगता है. It is all श्रुति सुख. सुनने में, it is all श्रुति सुख. It is like मृग तृष्णा. Plans and promises are too much, and the actual happiness is like a drop. Kam anala, it is a blazing fire of desire, And what we get to quench that? Madhu. Madhu lava, a drop of honey. इतना आग जल रहा है उसमें एक बूंद डाल रहे हैं, क्या होगा उससे? कुछ नहीं होगा.
But it is seen that women usually don't give up relationship, even if there is a frozen situations. And then men usually give up the relationship if there is a frozen situation. In a Shastri example, women have given a relationship. I don't find.
अब वैदिक कल्चर में तो डिवोर्स था ही नहीं.
That's why women usually don't give up. Although they, the lower nature of someone that we see in relationship of being that part, but they don't give up easily the relationship. Males usually when they provoke, like even Kansa, immediately give up the relationship. So much love from devotee, but immediately give up.
नहीं, वो तो मतलब नॉट, अच्छा, हस्बैंड वाइफ का तो डिवोर्स केस होता ही नहीं है, बट अनदर रिलेशनशिप्स आल्सो. ओके, या दैट इज देयर.
Only Kunti was praying to give a relationship that too.
नहीं नहीं, वो तो नहीं, वो तो बोल रही है कि इट इज नॉट अबाउट, या इट इज नॉट दैट शी इज सेइंग दैट आई विल नॉट टेक केयर ऑफ देम, बट माय अटैचमेंट आई डोंट वांट. स्नेह पाशम एवं छिंदी.
Actually, they were attached to relationships.
Urvashi, she lives. Urva, na?
और शोष चली जाती है छोड़ के. She was like, वो तो ऑलरेडी वो ये प्रॉमिस करके आई थी ना.
She came again. Not she.
नहीं नहीं नहीं, she didn't come.
वो condition.
वो ये गया उधर. Urura went and enjoyed with her.
She promised for once like that.
हाँ, once in a year.
Yeah.
He did यज्ञ, बहुत सारा यज्ञ तब करके, then he went to.
Heavenly women, they don't have any attachment or anything.
Yeah, so that's why she
They
left,
don't
ना.
have any family
Binding.
Yes. वो गंगा भी ऐसी उनको बोल के भीष्म नहीं निकालता. शांतनु.
But that also so great actually. That relationship is Srimad Bhagvatam. That means the whole Krishna is coming that details.
Yes. So basically, this entire episode tells how any pleasure of this world, anything you expect in this world, it will give pain only. Soham nidam shulla sukhaya dukkham mahadgatanam viramayat. Shulla sukha mahad dukh. All the pleasures are very flimsy. So Sati, she argued so much with Lord Shiva. तुम खड़े क्यों नहीं? खड़े हो जाते तो क्या होता? उसी समय आपको समाधि मिला ना था. And because she was thinking, chalo bhai, I'll be happy, I'll enjoy the association of my father, but still. आशा ही परमम दुखम नैराश्यम परमम सुखम. Any आशा gives pain. Nirasha मतलब not in the other sense. Nirasha means no desire. That is the greatest happiness. That is a pleasure.
How can one be Nirash?
Nirash means only desire for Krishna. Prabhupada writes in 2.71 purport Bhagavad Gita. विहाय कामान यः सर्वान् पुमां शरति निस्पृहा. विहाय कामान, उसमें प्रभुपाद लिखते हैं, what is real desirelessness? This real desirelessness means desiring only for Krishna's pleasure. More real desireless. Now why she is angry? She was angry not because she was not welcomed properly. Why she was angry? That is described in the next verse. Arudra bhagam tamaveksha chadvaram pitra cha deve kritahelanam vibhao अनादृता यज्ञ सदस्य धीश्वरी शुकोपलोकानिव धक्ष्यतीरुषा. शिव जी को जलाने वाली थी अभी सबको. धक्ष्यती, फिर से सेम. Yeah.
Wasn't in any of sacrifice, so she saw that there was no obligations for her husband or Shiva. Next, she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when she saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha, did not receive her either. Thus, she became greatly angry, so much so that she looked at her father as if she was going to burn him.
अभी पहले पति, अभी पिता. So now she is actually angry. Arudra bhagam. The main cause was Arudra bhagam. There was no oblations offered in the name of Lord Shiva. That made her really angry. So Prabhupada writes, in any sacrifice, all these devatas are offered oblations. Lord Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, by chanting the mantra Swaha. So Shiva, he is one of the greatest of the devatas. He should have been offered all these. But she saw that Brahmanas did not utter the mantra offering oblations to Lord Shiva. Namah Shivaya Swaha. She was really angry. She was not sorry for herself, but for she was ready to come to her father's house without being invited. She was not expecting any respect and royal reception, but why she came? So Prabhupada writes another deeper reason why she is coming. She came because she wanted to see whether her husband is offered respect or not. She wanted to see that whether her husband was being respected. That was the real reason. To see her relatives, mother, sister was not so important. Even when she was received by them, she did not care. For she was most concerned that her husband was being insulted. When she marked the insult, she became greatly angry and she looked at her father as if Daksha appeared to burn in her vision. So Shivji told her, you won't be able to tolerate the insult. And it's happening now. So when there is an expectation to enjoy, then the knowledge which is given goes in the background. Knowledge doesn't make any sense. Classic example is all the smokers. Every cigarette pack, बड़ा बड़ा लिखते हैं, smoking is injurious to health. All the tobacco का गुटखा के पैकेट में इतना बड़ा बड़ा सा घासली घासली पिक्चर लगाते हैं. No problem at all. So desire to enjoy is so much that all the knowledge goes in the background. So when somebody has a desire and expectation of enjoyment, no knowledge works.
Maybe they realize that that may not be one of the cause, like some people.
मेरे साथ नहीं होगा ऐसा.
मेरे साथ नहीं होगा. Or they don't know sure shot like it may have they written like may.
नहीं बोलते हैं ना स्मोकिंग इज इंजूरियस टू हेल्थ ऐसा लिखते हैं ना. तो फिर
होगा अब हर एक को नहीं होता है ना, दैट्स रीजन.
वही ना, मेरे साथ नहीं होगा ऐसा. सब लोग मर रहे हैं, मैं नहीं मरूंगा. दैट इज द मोस्ट आश्चर्य. हाँ वही ना,
एडिक्शन
एक बार आपने आदत लगी ना, वो उसको कोई फर्क नहीं
कोई फर्क नहीं
पड़ता.
That is the desire to enjoy in this world. To come out of that addiction to desire, enjoyment that is so deeply rooted. The cross addiction is one thing. Living entity in this world is addicted to enjoyment. तो कितना भी सुना तो फिलॉसफी, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? आई एम एडिक्टेड टू सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन. काम आनलम जल रहा है, काम की अग्नि ऐसा बर्निंग ब्लेजिंग फायर इन्फर्नो है उधर. तो कितना भी नॉलेज डाल लो भस्म हो जाता है उसमें. It's just like Dhritarashtra tells, when Akrura comes and tells him, give up your son. He says, all your knowledge is like wonderful. It is like a lightning in the sky. It is illuminating the darkness of my heart only for a few seconds. बस क्या करेगा ये बेचारा, ऐसा हालत है. So she is now condemning. She really becomes angry. जगर्ह सामर्ष विपन्नया गिरा शिव द्विषं धूमपथश्रमस्मयन् स्वतेजसा भूतगणान् समुत्थितान् निगृह्य देवी जगतोऽभिनिशृण्मतः.
So stop their manner order. She was very angry, sorrowful. And in that mood, she began to condemn the personal sacrificial spiritual activities and persons who are very proud of such unnecessary and troublesome sacrifices. He especially condemned my father, speaking against me in the public path.
तो becomes really angry and all the followers तो एकदम ऐसा ऐसा करके ready थे मारे जाने इनको दक्षा को. But she stopped because why she stopped? She tells. I think Chakravarti Thakur writes in the purport. एक आगे के purport में लिखते हैं. Sati, she says, I can kill you now. आगे आएगा वो. But she says, I am not killing. You know what people will say? Shiva sent his wife and killed Daksha. That's why I'm not killing you. So instead of killing you, I'll kill myself. That's what she says in later verses. So Sati, she stopped them. She was very angry. She was sorrowful. Amarsha Vipannaya Gira. She began to condemn them. Nigrihya Devi Jagato Abhishrinvataha. She stopped them and she started condemning. Dhum Patha Shramasmayam. She started condemning all the Vedic sacrifices. What is the use of all this? If you're not invited Lord Shiva, if you're not offering oblations to Lord Shiva, what is the use of all that? She says. So Prabhupada writes, the process of offering sacrifice is especially meant to satisfy Vishnu. He is Yagyesha, Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam. So not knowing this, all the less intelligent men, they do all the yagyas for their personal sense gratification. So Prabhupada writes, to derive personal material benefits for sense gratification is the reason persons like Daksha and his followers perform sacrifice. She was thinking, performing sacrifice for your own sense gratification. You are not offering oblations for the pleasure of the Lord. It is confirmed in Srimad Bhagvatam, one may prosecute the Vedic rituals, but if such activities does not develop attraction for Vishnu, they are useless. Which verse? Shrama eva hi ke, useless labor. Shrama eva hi ke, कैसे शुरू होता है वो?
गौ उत्पादयेत् यतिरति
हाँ.
तव एवैक केवलम्।
पहला लाइन.
निष्पक्षेण
कर्म धर्माय.
कथा रुचि।
हाँ पहला. दूसरा भी आ गया तीसरा. कैसे? धर्म सुनिश्च पुंसाम विश्वक्सेन कथाश्रया नोत्पादये नृतिमिति श्रमैव केवलम्. So Prabhupada is quoting that. One who has developed love for Vishnu must develop love and respect for Vishnu's devotees. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. So, this is fitting. When a Vaishnava or Vishnu is insulted, one should be angry. Prabhupada gives example of Jagai Madhai insulting Nityananda. Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. Kama Krishna Karmarpane. Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. Narottam Das Thakur writes. So now, Sati, she starts speaking very angrily. Chakravarti Thakur writes, Daksha was proud of his practice of karma. By her command, she prevented the ghosts. Okay. So Sati, she made a mistake of not following her husband. But now, that was the wrong thing, which we should not do. But now she is doing the right thing, which we should do. She is becoming angry. She is not just accepting and witnessing a Vaishnava aparadh. So Sati, she condemns Lord Shiva, and first she condemns Lord Daksha, and she glorifies Lord Shiva. So in 11th verse, she glorifies Lord Shiva by 5 wonderful qualities. Devi uvacha nayasya lokyasya atishayana priya
नय्यस्य लोकात्
तथा प्रियो देहभृतां प्रियात्मना
तथा प्रियो
तस्मिन्
देहभृताम्
समस्तात्मनि मुक्तवैरके
यस्मिन् समस्त
ते भवन्तं कथमप्रतीपयेत्.
कृते भवत् कथनं प्रतिपदे
No one but you could be envious of such a universal being who is free from all enmity.
So he is most beloved, Atishayana Priya. He has no rival. The first is he is most beloved. Second, he has no rival. Third, nobody is dear to him or enemy to him. And she says, Samastatmani Mukta Vairake, he is free from enmity. He has no enemy. And she says, Rite Bhavantam, only you could be envious of such a personality who has no rival, who is not having any enemy, who is not dear to or inimical towards anyone. He is Priyatmana, he is most beloved, he is Samasta Atmani, he is the soul of all beings, and he is Mukta Vairati. So only you can be envious of such a non-envious person. So Lord Shiva, he is as good as Lord Vishnu. Only some of the qualities which Lord Vishnu has, Lord Shiva doesn't have. So one devotee one time asked Prabhupada, Lord Ram worshipped Shiva. That means he is greater. Shiva is greater than Ram. Prabhupada said, that's okay, but still he is not equal. Greater chala equal. So Prabhupada has different ways of answering. So that is the Lord's greatness, that he worships his devotees. And just like in the four Kumaras, what Lord Vishnu says? How he has become so powerful?
Because Brahmanas is offering.
Lotus. The dust.
He said dust particles. Vishnu.
Lord says, I take the dust of my devotees on my head. That's how I acquired the disposition of destroying the sins of all the people who come to me. Yat sevaya charana padma pavitra renu sadhya shadakhilamalam pratilabdha shilam na shri viraktim apimam vijahati yasya preksha lavartha itare niyaman vahanti. Yat sevaya, I am serving the dust of the lotus feet of my devotees. That's the greatness of the Lord. So Lord Shiva, he has so many wonderful qualities. The Prabhupada describes Lord Shiva is a qualitative incarnation of Lord. He has almost the same qualities as the Lord. He is equal to everyone, no enemy, non-envious. So Sati, from 11th verse onwards, she criticizes Daksha in 13 verses. So first she says, you can be only envious of such a non-envious person. And 12th is a very, very famous verse, very powerful verse. Who is a sadhu? Who is a asadhu? And I think in this purport, Chakravarti Thakur writes the 8 types of people. अति असाधुतम से अति महत्तम, बहुत अच्छा पurport है. दोषान परेशान हि गुणेषु साधवो गृह्णन्ति केचिन्न भवादृशो द्विजा गुणांश फल्गुन् बहुलीकरिष्णवो
गुणांच फल्गुन बहुलीकनिष्ठ
महत्तमांस्तेष्वविदद्भवानघम्
महत्तमस्ते विदग्ध
I want Daksha, a man like you can simply find fault in qualities of others. Lord Shiva, however, not only finds no faults with others' qualities, but if someone has little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found fault with such a great soul.
Doshan Pareshan Hi Guneshu Sadhava, the saintly people, Sadhava, what they do? Dosh, when they see faults, they can transform it into good. Grihnanti Kechin, they see good faults, they see good qualities, not the faults. But you are always seeing faults. You are Bhavadrisha, you are always opposite. You are only seeing faults. So the great people, Bahuli Krishna, what the best people do? Gunamsha Falgun, when they see small good, Bahuli Krishna, they magnify it. Mahattamas Avidad, and you, Bhavan, Avidad Bhavanam, you are seeing only faults. So saintly people, they know how to utilize everything in Krishna's service. आयुर्वेदा में एक अच्छा श्लोक बोलते हैं वो लोग, मंत्रम अक्षरम नास्ति नास्ति मूलम अनौषधम अयोग्य पुरुषो नास्ति योजकस तत्र दुर्लभम. There is not a word which cannot be used in a mantra. Amantra akshara nasti. Nasti mula. There is not any root which is not used in medicine. Any root can be used in medicine. Ayogya purusho nasti. There is no being who is useless. But only one thing is missing. Yojakas tatra durlabham. One needs an expert person to do it. Yojaka chahiye. One who should know, one who knows how to apply this, how to use a person, how to use a herb, how to use a mantra, akshara. So Srila Prabhupada had all these propensities. He knew how to use everything. So we'll see Chakravarti Thakur's purport, very beautiful purport. Oh, fault finding पे सेमिनार देते हैं ना, fault finding पे नहीं, overcoming fault finding पे सेमिनार. So these are the 8 things, 8 ways people see in this world. So Prabhupada, Chakravarti Thakur writes, in order to say that in improper Daksha's assembly, all are improper. He says, Aap sab log, you are the lowest, beginning with Daksha. So she describes who is proper, who is sadhu, and who is asadhu. Those who have good conduct accept even faults in others, since the faults can be eventually transformed into good quality. Speaking harshly is a bad quality, but because it can be of someone's benefit, it becomes a good quality. When speaking harshly is a good quality? Any example in Bhagavatam? Speaking harshly was good. We heard it, we read it.
Vidura chastising Vidura.
Huh?
Vidura to Vidura.
माता जी को क्या बोलते हैं?
Naradamani to Vyasa.
हाँ वो भी है. Very strong. जुगुप्सितम. Condemned, you are condemned. एक ओपन बुक असाइनमेंट लिखने के बाद अगर मैं बोलूं दोबारा लिखो, इट वॉज कंडेम्ड. क्या लिख दिया आपने? कुछ भी लिख रहे हैं आप लोग. तो कैसा लगेगा? प्रभु जी क्या है ये? इतना मेहनत करके तो लिखा है. Yes, they have has written original verses, all Ved Puran, सब original है. और ये क्या बोल रहे हैं? जुगुप्सितम, इट इज ऑल कंडेम. ऐसा भी नहीं, ठीक है थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ है, कंडेम्ड. और ये विदुर जी तो ऐसा पूरा ही क्या बोलते हैं वो, अंधा पुरयो बधिरो मंद प्राज्ञ सांप्रताम क्षीण दंत मंदाग्नि सरागम कफम उद्वहन. Already you are blind. Now you have become deaf also. You can't digest anything. All the ragas are coming out when you are breathing. सरागम कब, राग के साथ कब निकाल रहे हैं आप? और क्या बोलते हैं, अरे यू आर लिविंग लाइक अ डॉग. उससे बड़ा भी क्या होगा? या भीमा पवर्जितम पिंडम मादत्ते गृह पालवत. घर के कुत्ते की तरह जी रहे हो तुम. But that was needed. So harsh words become good quality, like neem juice which cures sickness, although it is bitter. Persons who see in this way are to be considered good. Mahat. Sati sarcastically addresses Daksha as a Brahman. And a Brahman बोलती है. Dvija. Bhava drisho dvija. She's just sarcastically. You are not like that. You are not Brahman. नाम के लिए ब्राह्मण हो तुम. Persons like you think that good qualities will turn into fault. So, now she is giving various gradations. सबसे पहले वो बताती हैं महत क्या है. पहले वो असाधु बता रही है क्या? So Mahat people, they see a fault and they use it for good. Just like we know the example of Haridas Prabhu, just left his body some months back, Prabhupada disciple. Who was he previously? He was a thief. He came to steal the watch of Prabhupada. He golden watch pehna chalo bhai churayenge. But just by coming regularly, he became transformed, and then he joined also, and they were in Juhu land, and he went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, everybody is sleeping, but I am not able to sleep. मेरा job time रहता है, क्या करूं? Prabhupada said, no problem, I have a seva for you. You know, whenever I am translating, there are so many dogs in this Juhu property. So whenever I am speaking, Shri Bhagwan Vaapcha, you know, dog sound enters the dictaphone. So what do? You chase the dogs throughout the night. So that was his seva. So Prabhupada used that. कि भाई चलो भाई ये fault है, कोई बात नहीं, I'll use it. That is a Mahat. Then she says about Mahattar. Who is a Mahattar? So उसके बाद वो असाधु के बारे में लिखती हैं. We'll go in a gradation. पहले Mahat. Mahat means who sees a fault and uses it for good. Mahattar person, he overlooks the fault and sees the good. Any example? नहीं. महत मतलब वो fault देखते हैं and uses that fault for some good thing. Mahattar people, they see fault and good, but they overlook the fault. उनको भी fault दिखता है.
Magnifies the good part, so automatically into more good.
हाँ, वो next वाला है. One who magnifies the good is next वाला, महत्तम है वो. ये fault और good दोनों देखते हैं, but they overlook the fault. Just like famous pastime, and one devotee, one house life member came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I have heard your disciples singing verses. Their pronunciation is not good. Prabhupada, what is that?
Why don't you join our and
हाँ, वो एक दूसरे बार बोले. Prabhupada said, okay, you join and you teach them. Another one time he said, their pronunciation is not good, but their enunciation is very good. Another time Prabhupada said, another person came and said, Swamiji, I was hearing your class and I was sitting and I saw all your disciples were sleeping 100%. पूरी क्लास में सो रहे. Prabhupada said 100%. 95% तो सो ही रहे थे. Prabhupada said, just see, by hearing 5% what they have done. They have left everything. They have become such wonderful devotee, and you have heard 100%, right? What are you doing? So that was Prabhupada. Mahattar. Overlook the fault, see the good. So Chakravarti Thakur gives some Vedic examples for this. Mahattar क्या होता है? So some persons, some others, they over पहले महत का देते हैं example, फिर असाधु का हम लोग बाद में देखेंगे. Then after असाधु word, उसके बाद वो लिखते हैं about महत्तर. Some others, overlooking the fault, see the good qualities. Example, seeing a merchant, though a materialist, they conclude he takes care of the guests nicely and is worthy of deliverance. If he meets some merchant is a materialist, but वो क्या बोलते हैं? अरे at least he is taking care of the guests nicely, ना? They praise the good qualities and not the bad. And yeah, this person has renounced, but he also eats a lot. He does not simply think of him as a gluttonous beggar. These persons are superior. Even though they'll see that he itna kha raha hai, he should not eat so much, he is renounced. No, at least renounce the main hai na, he has renounced the world. So that's how they see the good. ये हो गया महत्तर. Then Mahattam. Who is a Mahattam? He takes the small good and magnifies it. They never see the fault. Just like Srila Prabhupada, when he was giving a class and one hippie comes and puts a toilet paper in the washroom. Prabhupada said, just see, he is also ready to serve. He has a desire to serve. छोटा सा, but he says, अरे वाह, कितना बड़ा आदमी है, कितना अच्छा सेवा किया है इन्होंने. So Prabhupada, Chakravarti Thakur gives another example. Chakravarti Thakur gives the example. Mahattam. This person is Mahattam. Who is a Mahattam? This person has stolen my cloth because he is cold. अगर किसी का चोरी भी करेंगे तो क्या बोलेंगे, अरे बेचारे को ठंडी लग रही होगी इसलिए चुरा लिया है. And you know what is good thing? He had weapon but he didn't attack me. एक तो चुराया, वो नहीं देख रहा है, बोले अरे को मेरे को मारा नहीं, वो बड़ी बात है. So that is Mahattam. And then he says, who is Ati Mahattam? कौन होगा अति महत्तम? Any guesses?
दोषी है, फिर भी अच्छा है.
He sees good qualities even if there are none. कुछ भी अच्छा नहीं है इसमें, फिर भी अच्छा दिख रहा है उसको. Any examples? अरे फेमस एग्जाम्पल है. अति महत्तम कौन होगा? हाँ, क्या बोलते हैं?
He says everybody is better than him.
ओके, ठीक है, ये हुई है. और
Everyone is good, sir.
हाँ, वो कौन है? सब और क्या बोलते हैं? वो फर्स्ट कैंटो में आता है ना, वो धृतराष्ट्र नहीं, जो चला गया धृतराष्ट्र.
Rup Sanatan also, no? Rup Sanatan, they describe that even they are known.
हाँ, वो भी है. वो युधिष्ठिर आके बोलते हैं ना कि संजय को बोलते हैं, अरे धृतराष्ट्र इज नॉट देयर, ही वुड टेक केयर ऑफ अस व्हेन माय फादर फेल डाउन, वी हैड नोबडी, ही ओनली हेल्प्ड अस, ही ओनली टुक केयर. क्या है ये? ही हैड नो गुड क्वालिटी, स्टिल ही इज सीइंग गुड क्वालिटी. और रूप सनातन तो अच्छा एकदम ऐसा बोलते हैं, बोलते हैं जगाए मदाए होइटे कोटि कोटि गुण, अधम पतित पापी आमी दुई जन. बोले देखो, Jagannath has 100,000 of good qualities, and we are the only fallen one. And they justify it also. क्या बोलते हैं? ब्राह्मण जाति तार नवदीप पे घर, नीचे सेवा नहीं करे नहीं नीचे रख कुर पर. बताओ, बोल रहे अरे ब्राह्मण में थे, ब्राह्मण के घर में जन्म लिया, नवदीप में घर है, और क्या चाहिए? एंड गुड थिंग इज दे नेवर सर्व्ड मलेच्छस. और हमको देखो, मलेच्छ जाति मलेच्छ सेवी करी मलेच्छ कर्म, गो ब्राह्मण द्रोही संज्ञा हमारा संगम. हम क्या कर रहे हैं? देखो, मलेच्छों की सेवा कर रहे हैं, मलेच्छ जाति हो गया हमारा. और उनका क्या था? यमराज एंड चित्रगुप्त हैव टफ टाइम काउंटिंग देयर सिंस. और ये क्या बोल रहे हैं? सब एक दोष तारो है पाप, एक थोड़ा सा पाप किया और क्या, बट पाप राशि दहे नामा भासे तुम्हार. अरे जस्ट बाय टेकिंग योर नेम, पाप राशि इज डिस्ट्रॉय. तो वो है महत्तम, अति महत्तम है. ओ कृष्ण क्या देख रहे हैं पूतना में? ये दूध पिलाने. वो क्रेजी पीटर का स्टोरी मालूम है ना आप लोगों को? One time Prabhupada was in the morning walk and they found one pakka hippie not taken bath for months, drunk. He suddenly jumps off the bushes and falls at feet of Prabhupada and says, please take me with you. So Prabhupada says, please take him to temple. And all the disciples are wondering, ये इसको क्या लेके क्या करेंगे? Prabhupada said, no, take him. He wants to surrender. He is taking shelter. तो आ गया वो, मंदिर आ गया वो. No seva. You would just lie down in the balcony, the main balcony where all the visitors are coming. उधर पड़ा है इधर. No seva. Just तीमर खा रहा है वो. So all the disciples, they are getting disturbed. They wrote letter. Prabhupada, his name was Peter. Prabhupada, he is crazy. He is not doing any services. He is just eating and lying down. Should we throw him out? Prabhupada said, just tolerate him as I am tolerating you. अब क्या बोलेंगे? ठीक है भाई, चलो रहने दिया उसको. गिरिराज महाराज was there at that time. He was a brahmachari. After 20 years, Giriraj Maharaj is recalling, 20 years, he was in New York, New Brindavan. And one day, Mangalarti, he sees crazy Peter. So he asks one devotee, who is he? So he says, Maharaj, you don't know? He is Kushakrat Das. Krat Das. So Giriraj Maharaj knew Kushakrat Das is a famous scholar in our society. He has translated all the Gaudiya literatures into English. And he was shocked. Because उस टाइम ऐसा फोटो वोटो था नहीं कि भाई कुशाकृत दास ऐसे दिखते हैं. So this crazy Peter went on to become Kushakrat Das. That is the mercy of Prabhupada. Ati Mahtam. He could see good where there was none.
Not only good, I think Prabhupada has a different vision itself. This cannot be happened.
तो प्रभुपाद ही कर सकते हैं आपको करना.
He is a transcendental user.
That is Ati Mahattam. So she's saying Lord Shiva is Ati Mahattam, and you know what are you? You are Ati Asadhutam. So now we'll go to the negative part of it. ये तो अच्छे अच्छे हो गए. अभी असाधु किसको बोलते हैं? So Chakravarti Thakur writes, असाधु means, ये interesting है, असाधु क्या बोलते हैं? If somebody he sees some good in somebody, वो बोलते हैं. ज्यादा दिन तक टिकेगा नहीं. ये बहुत हरे कृष्णा में जा रहा है, मालूम है मेरे को. ये सब दिखावा चल रहा है, ज्यादा दिन तक नहीं टिकेगा इसका. असाधु. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, persons like you think that good qualities will turn into faults. ये जो भी good qualities है ना, टिकने वाले नहीं है. You will think that someone who wants to help others will become greedy for their assets. ये इसे help क्यों कर रहा है? He wants money. Just like old Brahman, young Brahman का story आता है. तो old Brahman says, I'll give you my daughter in marriage. तो young Brahman क्या बोलता है? Why have served you? याद है किसी? क्या बोलते हैं?
साक्षी गोपाल होगा.
साक्षी गोपाल वाला.
Serve for the sake of getting.
हाँ, तो वो क्या बोलते हैं? मतलब वो अभी old Brahman says, I want to give you my daughter.
He said कि you have to promise or something.
नहीं, उसके पहले बोलते हैं, I didn't serve you for any material thing. अच्छा एक श्लोक बोलते हैं वो, ब्राह्मण सेवाए कृष्ण प्रीति बड़ होए, तहार संतोषे प्रेम संपत बढ़े. I didn't serve you to get any material things. I served you because of Brahman. You are a Brahman, and Brahman sevaye Krishna priti bada hoy. I'll develop love for Krishna. So that's the only reason. So he's saying, अरे नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. So असाधु means, तो ये जो इसका सन है ना, ओल्ड ब्राह्मण का सन क्या बोलता है? इसने सेवा क्यों किया? He wanted property. He gave dhatura to my father, and then he took some promises. That is असाधु. ये अच्छा सेवा किया, कुछ चाहिए इसको. Next level, lower level, asadhutar. Asadhutar means he sees faults only. Even if there are good qualities, he will see only fault. He is asadhutar. What is that? Chakravarti Thakur gives an example. Others see faults only, overlooking the good. And example is, this sannyasi eats ghee rice to fill his stomach. He is lusty and he should be considered fallen. So that is asadhutar. He is not seeing that ये बेचारा devotee है, सन्यासी है, सब छोड़ा है. नहीं खा रहा है इतना. असाधुतर है वो. It's like if somebody memorizes, ऐसा generally होता नहीं है. If somebody is just doing all the recitation of the shlokas, ऐसा तो somebody will say outside, parrot like chanting. क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है इससे? So that is how, when good quality, कुछ है फालतू है, ये तो फॉल्ट है, दिखा रहे हैं अपने आप, दिखावा कर रहे हैं. That is asadhutar. Asadhutam. असाधुतम क्या होगा? any guesses?
छोटे से फॉल्ट को भी बहुत
हाँ, असाधुतम means he is small fault magnifies it. अभी इसका एग्जाम्पल चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर क्या देते हैं? This person has stolen my नहीं, असाधुतम, हाँ. This renunciate has given up the forest and lives in the house of a married man. He only wants to steal money. एक दिन के लिए भी रहा तो है, देखो चुराने के लिए रह रहा है. He's a साधुतम. फिर दुर्वासा अम्बरीश के केस में क्या हो गया? थोड़ा पानी पिया तो ये देखो, इज ब्रोकन प्रॉमिस. एंड अति असाधुतम, हु इज अति असाधुतम? वो कौन होगा? Even if there are no faults, he'll find faults. So basically, with all this analysis, you know what she's saying? Lord Shiva is Ati Mahattam and you are Ati Asadhutam. Any other example of Ati Asadhutam? Finding faults when there are none.
Yeah, or the another who is temple.
रामचंद्र पुरी, वो भी महाप्रभु को बोलते हैं. और
also son-in-law of
अमोघा सर्वमट्टाचार्य के साथ लोग बोलते हैं इसका भारत का पैसा देश विदेश में भेज रहा है. Faults when there are none. हाँ, विदेश में भेज रहे हैं तो फेमस, बहुत सारा फेमस वीडियो ना ये देखो इंडिया से. उनको मालूम नहीं है प्रभुपाद ने जितने मंदिर बनवाए सब विदेश से लाके बनवाए गए. एंड somehow all the countries have no problem. बाकी देशों ने कभी वीडियो नहीं बनाई, इसको ने हमारा पैसा इंडिया भेजा. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, according to the amount of sattva, one is considered good. Though there are many types of good people, they are divided into 4 types: Mahat, Mahattar, Mahattam, Ati Mahattam. And according to Tama, at amount of Tama, there are 4 types: Asadhu, Asadhutar, Asadhutam, and Ati Asadhutam. These are indicated by the words न भवादृश. आप तो महत है ही नहीं, आप तो अति महत्तम, अति असाधुतम है. अविदत भवन अघम, you are अति असाधुतम. One can also divide devotee into 4 types by the degree of bhakti yoga, whose essence is Shuddha Sattva. And one can divide non-devotees into 4 types by the amount of offenses they exhibit. So devotees, they also can be divided into various types of bhakta depending on the sattva. Any example? हमने पढ़ा है 4 टाइप की भक्ति. इसमें नहीं है, 3rd कैंटो में पढ़ा है.
Examples are these are so.
हाँ, इसमें है. पढ़ा किसमें है? कपिल देव. हाँ, सत्वगुणी भक्ति, रजोगुणी भक्ति, तमोगुणी भक्ति एंड शुद्ध सत्वगुणी. वही बता रहे हैं आप. One can divide devotee into 4 types. कुछ लिखते नहीं है वो. I'm not sure. By the amount of offenses they exhibit. क्या करना पड़ेगा? Any thoughts? I'll also try to find out.
अपराध 6 टाइप के, that is for वैष्णव अपराध.
हाँ, वो तो अलग.
4 types of जीव अपराध.
नहीं, बोल रहे हैं one can divide non-devotee into 4 types by the amount of offenses they exhibit.
ये non-duty का 4 types है.
पता नहीं.
थर्ड कैंटो में मेंशन किया है purport. इसमें से कुछ
ठीक है, anyways पता चलेगा तो बता दीजिए. Shiva has been described as the dear soul of all beings. He is affectionate to all. No, he doesn't see fault, so therefore he is Ati Mahattam. But you find fault in such person because of seeing only fault in Shiva. you can see only fault in whole world. You have committed offense against great devotee, and उसके बाद क्या किया आपने? You have blamed ब्रह्मा जी as well. ये परमेष्टि के कहने पे मैंने अपनी बेटी का शादी कराया. Just like he is telling Brahma has no intelligence. इतना भी नहीं समझता है इनको. That's how he was telling. And you have offended other devotees as well. Daksha, performing sacrifice named Vajpaya, became best of the sacrifice named Brihaspati, surpassing the followers of Shiva. So the followers of Shiva, they are also devotees. So therefore you are Ati Asadhutam. So that is the ultimate conclusion of all this analysis. Now she goes to the next. Nashcharyameta yadasatsu sarvadha महद्विनिन्दा गुणपात्मवादिषु शीर्ष्यं महापुरुषपादपांशुभिः निरस्ततेजस्सु तदेव शोभनम्.
Wonderful for persons who have accepted the transient material body as the self, engage always in deriding great souls. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good because that is the way they fall down. They are diminished by the dust of the feet of the great personalities.
So the dust of the feet of the great personalities destroy the offenders. The Vaishnavas personally, they may not take the offense, but the dust of the Vaishnavas' feet takes the offense, and they are destroyed by that. Na ashcharyam, it is not surprising. Etad yad asatsu sarvada, those who are asatsu, materialists, they are constantly what they are doing? Mahad vininda. They are constantly criticizing the great souls. And Kunapatmavadi, they are claiming the gross body to be all in all. Kunapatma. Anyone remembers any similar word? Kunapa. Kunape tridhatu ke. सुना ये शब्द? Yasyatma buddhi. Kunape tridhatu. Kunapa means the body. The body is all in all. Kunapa. And Shershyam Mahapurusha Padapam Shubhi. Shershyam means they Shesha, because of this envy towards Mahapurusha, Pad Pam Subhi, the dust of their feet, they destroy. Nirasta Teja, they are destroyed by their dust. She says, Nirasta Tadeva Shobhanam. The only glory of this criticism is that they will fall down. That's the only result one gets by criticizing the great personalities. That is a sarcastic comment, the glory of criticism. Fall down. Just like another place, it is described, the only result one gets in endeavoring in this world is the endeavor. Bas. Only that is the benefit one gets, the endeavor. Nothing else. Srila Prabhupada writes, everything depends on the strength. ये बहुत powerful है. Everything depends on the strength of the recipient. For example, due to scorching sunshine, many vegetables and flowers dry up and many grow luxuriantly. Thus, it is a recipient that causes growth and dwindling. Mahatpad Rajobhishekam, the dust of the feet of Vaishnavas, they can elevate one to the highest position also, and they can destroy one also. If somebody serves the devotees, they are elevated. Mahat Seva Dwaram. थर्ड कैंटो का श्लोक है, याद किया होगा आप लोगों ने. हम लोगों का श्लोक का रिसाइटेशन बंद ही हो गया. मैंने बोला है अभी हम ओरल टेस्ट लेंगे हम लोग. महत् सेवा द्वारम आहु विमुक्ते तमो द्वारम योषिताम संगी संगम. महत् सेवा, serving Mahat, the gate of liberation is opened, And tamodvaram yoshita. So here she's saying, offending great souls destroys one. So Prabhupada gives a wonderful example. Sunshine can make some vegetables grow and destroys or dries up another. So Prabhupada writes similarly, the dust of the great personalities, the lotus feet of great personalities offers all good to the recipient, but the same dust can do harm. Those who are offenders, they glide down more and more. That is the understanding. Because a devotee may forgive. भक्त स्वभाव अज्ञ दोष क्षमा करे, कृष्ण स्वभाव भक्त निंदा सहित न पारे. The devotee may forgive because a devotee out of humility he thinks I am not a devotee at all. But Krishna takes the offense seriously. Haridas Thakur, he forgave Gopal Chakravarti. In that debate which happened between Haridas Thakur and all the Brahmanas, and Haridas Thakur said, this Nama Bhas is sufficient for liberation, Gopal Chakravarti became so angry. He said, if that is the case, then my nose will follow. Otherwise, and Haridas Thakur says, if whatever I am saying is wrong, my nose will follow. And what happened? Gopal Chakravarti got leprosy. So, Lord, a devotee, they are not so much concerned about their respect, but Lord is criticized, they can't handle. So Haridas Thakur, he forgave. ठीक है भाई, चलो माफ किया. Because he is speaking so many things about me, I don't mind. But Krishna, humble will flourish and offender will perish. That is always there. Any other examples of a person who offends great personalities fall down? जुहू वाले हमारे हमारे नहीं, मिस्टर नायर. Any other examples?
The crude and destruction has been like.
This is a famous example because they criticized the Brahmanas, the sons of Samba and all the others. They criticized. They made fun.
Crude and they operated Vidura and the entire crude and destroyed.
Okay, that is also there. Okay, so Prabhupada writes Prabhupada writes in the middle of the purport. Offender glides down more and more. Therefore, he naturally continues to commit offenses at the feet of great souls. So this offense which Daksha is making here, that is such a grave offense that we have heard. Ultimately, he left his body. He again took birth as son of. He took birth as son of Prachetas. He went and did tapasya for 6 manvantar. Again, he came back. He had 11,000 sons. They were made brahmacharis by Narad Muni. And then what he did? Again criticized Narad. He had darshan of Lord. It was described in 6th canto. There is a chapter, Hamsa Guhya prayers. Daksha had ecstatic symptoms, seeing the Lord. And Lord glorified Daksha also. But फिर भी क्या हो गया? Because his intention was not pure devotion. He did tapasya for managerial purposes. मेरे को progeny बढ़ाना है, population बढ़ाना है.
Same seva he has received.
हाँ?
Given in the same service.
Same सेवा और सेवा का attitude क्या है? He became proud ना? That is a problem. सेवा करिए, but सेवा में proud हो गया ना वो. That is a problem. He is proud of his services. That's why he fell down. Prabhupada writes, one who has such concept of life is like cow and asses. यस्यात्म बुद्धि गुणपे तीर्थातु के वो श्लोक में लिखते हैं. सएव गोखर.
Daksha never consulted for this anyone.
Huh?
Daksha.
Proud people, how can they consult? I know everything. मैं समझूंगा, मैं हम्बल हूं तभी तो किसी के पास जाके पूछूंगा ना कि भाई मेरा प्रॉब्लम क्या है बता. मैं प्रॉब्लम कैसे हो सकता है? When I enter, all the great personalities stand up. So whom should I ask? I am the biggest. कैसे पूछेंगे? हम्बल पर्सन पूछेगा ना कि मेरा प्रॉब्लम क्या है, और बड़े वाले को ऐसे प्राउड को बताएंगे तो फिर क्या वो बोलते हैं ना, मूर्ख को उपदेश देंगे तो बैकफायर ही होता है। उपदेशो ही मूर्खानाम प्रकोपाय न शांतये। मूर्ख को उपदेश देंगे तो शांत नहीं होता है, गुस्सा होता है उसको। मुझे उपदेश दे रहे हैं, यू नो व्हाट आई एम द ग्रेटेस्ट प्रजापति। आप क्या है? आप तो ऑर्डिनरी देवता है। So now, Sati, she was there when Daksha insulted Lord Shiva last time. So अब क्या कर रही है वो? इतने सालों के बाद सब याद है सती को क्या क्या बोली वो, दक्षा क्या बोले. So in next two verses, she is refuting whatever Daksha said. So Daksha criticized Lord Shiva's names. What he said, he is a Shiva. And he is matta, he is mad, he is inauspicious. He is Shiva in the name only, Shivopadesha. So now Sati is countering all these arguments. Yadvaksharam nama gireritam nrinam Sat prasangat agamashu hanti tat pavitra kirtim tamalangya shasanam bhavan ahorveshti shivam shivetaraha.
Bhavan Drushti Shivam Shivetara. Sati continued, my dear father, you are committing the greatest offenses by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of two syllables, Shi and Bha, purifies one of all sinful activities. His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envies him. Hare
So
Krishna.
she's saying three things. The name of Lord Shiva is so pure. Nam agham ashu hanti. This name of Shiva is purifying all the sinful activities. That is the power of Shiva's name. What is the power of Lord Shiva's order? Alangya Shashanam. Nobody can neglect कि नहीं है जान शिवजी ने ऑर्डर दिया ठीक है नहीं करेंगे. No, nobody can neglect the order of Lord Shiva. And third, you know what is the fame of Lord Shiva? Pavitra Kirti. His fame is all pure. There is not even a single spot on his fame. He has not done anything so far which is condemned. He's all pure. His fame is Pavitra Kirti. So Prabhupada writes, Lord Shiva is the greatest soul, and Lord Shiva is very auspicious for people who identify with the body, with the soul. People take shelter of Lord Shiva. Gradually, they will understand that they are not material body. That's a gradual advancement of the followers of Shiva. They understand after some time that they are spirit soul. That's why he is Shiva. He is auspicious. Shiva means auspicious because the devotees of Shiva gradually come to the platform of spiritual identification. But that is not all. Auspicious life begins from the point of spiritual identification. Just understanding that I am not this body, I am soul, that is not the end of spiritual life. That is the beginning. Brahman is the beginning. There are more duties. One has to understand relation with Supreme Soul. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. Lord is always absorbed. Thus, Lord Shiva is always absorbed in thoughts of Vasudeva. Thus, the auspicious position of Lord Shiva is realized if one takes to worship of Vishnu. Because Lord Shiva is himself absorbed in Vishnu worship. He is absorbed in Vasudeva Tattva. So anyone who worships Lord Shiva naturally will become realized if he takes to worship of Vishnu. He is the greatest devotee. Okay. Now, after describing three qualities of the name, order, and the fame, she is now describing that you are envious. And two more qualities she describes in the, I think three more qualities she describes in the next verse. Yat pad padmam mahatam manolivi nishevitam brahma rasa savarthivi lokasya yadvarshati chashishorthina तस्मै भवान् दुह्यति विश्वबन्धवे
तस्मै भवान् दुष्याति विश्ववन्दे
of Lord Shiva, upon living entity.
विश्ववन्दे.
For the common man, he fulfills all desires, and because of their engagement in thinking of his lotus feet, he also blesses higher personalities who are seeking after Brahmananda, confident of this.
So he is a friend of all materialists. That is the first thing. Yeah. Lokasya yadvarshati. He fulfills the desires of all the common men also. And not just that, he is friend of everyone basically. He is friend of materialists. He is friend of those who want Brahmananda. And he is friend of devotees also. Yad param ramhasa. As it is described in Prachetas. When Prachetas they meet Lord Shiva himself tells Yat param ramasa sakshat triguna jiva sangitat bhagavantam vasudeva prapannasa priyosime. Yeah, param ramasa, those who are devotees of the Lord, I am very, very dear to them. I like them more than my devotees. So he is friend of the materialists. He is friend of those who are interested in Brahmananda, Brahma Rasa Asvas, Brahma Rasa Savarthibi, those who want Brahmananda, and those who are devotees, those who are absorbed in the form of the Lord. सबके लिए आप dear हैं. Only you can be envious of such a personality. So Prabhupada writes, there are two classes of men, one who want material prosperity from Lord Shiva and others who want liberation. Those who are disgusted by material things, they also go to Shiva. And those who want material things, they also go to Shiva. So Shiva, one who understands that he is not the material body, but the spirit soul is liberated from ignorance, Lord Shiva offers that facility also. Ultimately, Lord Shiva, he is a friend of both the ordinary man and the man who is elevated in spiritual knowledge. But Daksha, he was finding faults with such man, such personality. Okay. Can you read the translation of the next verse?
Do you think that greater, more respectable personalities than you, such as Lord Brahma, do not know this inauspicious person who goes under the name of Lord Shiva? He associates with the demons in the crematorium. His locks of hair are scattered all over his body. He is garlanded with the human skulls and smeared with ashes from his crematorium. But in spite of all these inauspicious qualities, great personalities like Brahma honor him by accepting the flowers offered to his lotus feet and placing them with the great respect on their heads.
So she is saying, Brahma is worshipping him. Are you greater than Brahma? So she has come only with one purpose, to prove how Lord Shiva is such a great personality. Prabhupada writes in that purport that Lord Sati, since Sati was a chaste woman and wife of Lord Shiva, it was her duty to establish the elevated position of Lord Shiva, not only by sentiment but by facts. So she is speaking all the wonderful facts. You are calling him inauspicious because he is staying in the crematorium. Do you think Lord Brahma is greater than you? He is also offering respects. So she is very logically, establishing how Lord Shiva is such a great personality. And then last lines of the purport, Prabhupada writes, Sati did not actually come to her father's house to participate in the function. Although, before coming, she pleaded with her husband that she wanted to see her brother, sisters, and mother. That was a plea only. For actually, at heart, she maintained the idea that she would convince her father that it was useless to continue being envious of Lord Shiva. That was her main purpose. And when she was unable to convince, she gave up her body. Now, next is also a very famous verse. We have heard this many times. What to do when we hear the blasphemy of devotees? क्या करना चाहिए?
No, run away from it.
Run away. और
Cut the tongue of the.
अरे बाप रे, the end वाला और
Leave the
Leave the
body.
place.
और
Leave the body.
नहीं बीच में एक और भी है.
We can
Defeat that person in argument.
fight back.
ये बोलती हैं यहाँ पे. Three things. कर्णोपिधाय निरयाद् यद कल्पईशे धर्मा वितर्य श्रेणिभिर्निभिरस्य माने
विरस्यमाने
हिन्द्यात् प्रसह्य रुषतीम् असतीम् प्रभुश्चे
संजात परस्य
जिह्वामसून्नपि ततो विसृजेत् स धर्मः.
धर्मः.
If one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of the religion, one should block his ears to go away, if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the famous tongue and kill the offender. And after that, one should give up his own life.
So Chakravarti Thakur writes some interesting in-between commentary. Lord Shiva, now Daksha, he is also hearing, he is becoming very angry. He says, describing the good people, you have forbidden seeing faults in others. But you criticize me, a Brahman. I am a Brahman, and you are criticizing me. Not only that, I am Prajapati, and I am your father. And you are criticizing me. You are a sadhutar. So Daksha is telling Sati, you are a sadhutar. You are not seeing any of the good qualities. So Sati becomes very angry. She says, Arey, what to speak of just criticizing you? I have committed a great offense to Shiva because I should have killed you because you offended Shiva. मार देना चाहिए. But क्यों नहीं मार रही हो? He says, because लोग बोलेंगे कि शिवजी ने अपनी पत्नी को भेज के मरवा दिया दक्ष को. I think she says, I think next verse में कहीं तो purport में लिखते हैं चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर. So she says, how to treat a blasphemer of a Vaishnava. First, कर्णोपिधाय कान बंद करिए. Niraya, just run away from that place. If unable to punish. Dharma vitarya. Ashranibhir. If one hears an irresponsible dharma vitari means if one hears a person who is ashranibhir, who is irresponsible, criticizing the master and controller of religion, or she's talking about Lord Shiva. So anybody who is a devotee of the Lord, if a person is criticizing the devotee, so what is another thing which is remaining? Ek to bhago, if unable to punish, or jhindyad prasahya rushati. If one is able to kill, one should by force cut the tongue, kill the offender, and not just that, उसके बाद क्या करना है? जिह्वा मसून, because सुन लिया है ना? You have heard the blasphemy. So just these are the very strong actions. The best is leave it, leave the place. Or if you can defeat that person in argument, no, it is not the case. If somebody is criticizing Lord, or the devotees of the Lord, if you can refute it, that is great. Or if you are not in that situation, just leave that place. If we keep on hearing the blasphemy of devotees or the Supreme Lord, it is an offense. Prabhupada writes. The argument offered by Sati is that a person who vilifies the greatest personality is the lowest of the creature. But by same argument, Daksha says, I am a Prajapati, I am your father, and you are criticizing me. Sati says, I should have killed you. But Prabhupada, that is a process. But because Daksha happened to be the father of Sati, she decided not to kill him, but to give up her own wife, her own life. The important instruction set forth here in Bhagavatam is that one should not tolerate at any cost the activities of a person who vilifies or blasphemes an authority. If one is a Brahmana, he should not give up his body, because by doing so he becomes responsible for killing a Brahman. So different types of people, how they should behave. Brahmana है तो खुद नहीं मर सकते. So what they should do? Just leave the place. If one happens to be Kshatriya, punish the man. As far as Vaishyas and Shudras are concerned, immediately give up. Give up the body. Sati, out of her humility, she is saying, I am a woman. I am not such a great person. I am Shudra. So therefore she decided to give up her life. The best way to leave.
Leave the place.
Leave the place.
In the same, when the cursing, counter cursing starts,
Yeah.
and the Lord Shiva, their master was insulted. So it is right from the perspective of Nandi and others
Mm.
start. What should have been ideal thing for them? What did it is right? From that perspective, if you look at it.
They went overboard. They started cursing all the Brahmanas also, everyone.
So the reason that some of the Brahmanas were enjoying.
Yeah.
So they had a reason for doing that, because they have
So
seen
they
some
didn't
of the-
curse those Brahmanas, they cursed the entire Brahmanical community.
Exactly.
That was the fault. So if they would have cursed only few of the Brahmanas who were laughing or enjoying the whole thing, it would have been justified. But he cursed the entire Brahmanical community. They are followers of the Vedas and you are doing all this. So they criticized Vedas also, Brahmanas also. So that was wrong.
And I think till date it is same, the Brahmanas.
हाँ वो बोले ना प्रभुपाद लिखते ना this curse is still
Kali-yuga Brahmanas.
कलयुग में सब ये all they are fully manifesting. So Prabhupada writes in that. So Sati, she is speaking all that and then ultimately हाँ next verse में purport में लिखते हैं. Chakravarti Thakur writes, having all powers and all abilities, I can destroy you, myself, and whole universe. However, people will say that Shiva killed Daksha through his wife. And in fear of destroying Shiva's fame, I will not kill you. I will perform atonement for myself. Just see what I will do. So seeing this, she gives up her own life. Okay, we'll stop
In the
here.
previous, when we see the Sati's nature, we understood that she also attached in one sense. She was speaking about that part. When she actually went to that place, very clearly see that she doesn't want to tolerate the Vaishnava members. She considers her husband as the greatest Vaishnava, and these people are not disrespecting her. She is not taken it into account, but disrespecting her husband, not her husband. Her husband is the greatest Vaishnava. So he was ideally exhibiting a Vaishnavi quality. Initially, we thought he's so attached to his family and wanted to go and be the natural tendency of woman. This looks like that part. But actually, she is exhibiting the
That's why you should never tag a Vaishnava by one of the actions.
Weak woman.
ये तो ऐसे ही डिवोटी हैं, ये तो हमेशा ही गड़बड़ करते हैं, ये तो हमेशा, ये तो ट्रांसेंडेंटल है पूरे। हमारा वैष्णव में जो गाली देने का है ट्रांसेंडेंटल मतलब पूरे इररेस्पॉन्सिबल, ये तो अवधूत है। तो they may have done some wrong, so everyone should be given a chance to reform. That is very strikingly seen here. She was seen to be a person who was attached to her family, but now she is such wonderfully exhibiting Vaishnava qualities. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I'll put the question paper in the group.